Okay, here we are at the Spring Creek Trailhead. Today is, let's see, March 27th. It's a Saturday, and it's about 1 o'clock. We're embarking on a 4-mile hike from mile 10 to mile 14. I'm sorry, from mile, let's see, where would we be? Mile 10? Yeah, mile 10 to mile 14. So here we go.
Water bottle.
Just starting out at the Spring Creek parking area. We parked over here, and now we're walking up a field road to pick up the trail system, and we're going to be picking up at mile 10, which is where we left off at our on our last hike that we published. Today's Saturday, March 27th, about 1 p.m. Beautiful, beautiful spring-like day. And we're going to be going for 4 miles from mile 10 to mile 14. Okay, we've walked back the field road from the Spring Creek parking lot, and there's a well-worn trail that has developed over the years through this field that'll take us down to the trail system. We could have continued on the field road and it still would have intersected with the trail system, but when we finished our last hike, this is where we finished up, and so we're just going to start here again, which is going to put us right near mile 10, and then we'll go from mile 10 up to mile 14. Again, I can't emphasize how beautiful the weather is. It is a great day for a hike. It's almost warm enough that I could have worn shorts, but I chose not to because I want to be getting into the brush a little bit to show some of the foundations that we find along the way. Old foundations from buildings that were torn down when the lake was built. So now we're on the trail system and we're headed up to a bridge. I'll pick up filming when we get to the bridge up here. We just reached the bridge at near mile marker 10, and you can see here it's a wooden footbridge, and there's an area here that a lot of people use to take horses and bicycles across, and they cross the water. But we're going to take the footbridge here, and you can see the remnants here. This was once a concrete type bridge, and they built the footbridge over the top of it, and then over on the other side you can see the walls are stone over there. So it was a bridge, and it was kind of like a field road bridge, but now it's been rebuilt as a footbridge, a wooden footbridge, and you can see the Spring Creek coming down here, and Spring Creek going down that way, flowing into Blue Marsh. And we're gonna go up here on a dog going for a walk. Hi.
Hi. Somebody was swimming.
Is that just like a GoPro thing there?
Okay, we just stopped for a little bit, and we're looking around and found some old foundations that even after all these years and all these times we've been back here, we haven't seen all of them. Up here I'm going to veer off the trail for a little bit to show, I believe, an old foundation. And before I do that, we can go over here and see an old plumbing pipe coming out of the ground. And let's see, there you can see that. And then over here you can see parts of an old foundation. That would be right here. So there was probably a bungalow back here. And then you can see in here, you can see old concrete blocks as part of a foundation. And I have my able-bodied assistant checking out this side of the trail. Has she found anything back here? Yeah, I think there used to be some old foundations back here as well. And now it's just kind of overgrown. Here's some concrete foundation right here, just along the side of the trail. We are just before mile 10 on the trail system for point of reference. And we'll head back down to the trail system. And when we're on these hikes, we like to show all the animal trails. They're so well used, they're almost like highways for the animals, where they go from their bedding areas down to the water and to their feeding areas. And that was one of them right there. And we're coming up on the foundation that I was actually looking for up here. I'm going to turn off the trail and show you that. And again, we are just before mile 10. Here's an old plumbing pipe that was left behind. And then you can see a piece of a foundation here. Right here. You can see where my foot is, right there. And if we go back here, there's an old stone wall. Try to stay out of the stickers here because I have short sleeves on. Here's a really nice old stone wall and an old foundation. You can see the outer part of the stone wall here. And then if we move over here, we can look through the brush and see the entire wall system for some sort of building. Not sure what it was, but lots of concrete block, but mostly old stone walls. Now this top part right here is concrete. Turn the camera down. That's concrete right there. But then down below it, it's all stone. The original foundation was stone. So really interesting. Would love to know if somebody can tell us what this bungalow was or what this building was. So we're not sure if this was maybe part of an old well or something. You can see the pipes that have been left behind right here and here. And then over here there's a pipe sticking up. This almost looks more like some sort of a gate post or a handrail post or something like that. And then underneath where I'm standing, you can see, maybe if you look closely over here underneath this pole, you can see that I'm standing on somewhat of a concrete pad. And then over on this side over here, you can see a pipe that was crushed down just about like the other one over on the other side. Sorry I can't zoom in with this camera, it would be a lot easier, but okay. So now we'll get back down to the trail. As we headed back down to the trail, we found remnants of something. It looks like it might have been a well. Kind of looks like some concrete surrounding a hole in the ground, which would seem to indicate that it would probably be a well. We're back on the trail, but now if we look to the right of the trail, you can see remnants of a foundation over here. I don't know if you can see that real well, but there it is. There's an old wall in a corner from a foundation. Probably a summer bungalow or something. And we've seen this over the years as well. You can probably see underneath my shadow there, there's a red brick, where you can tell there was some kind of a structure that had brick in it back here. And we continue up the trail just a little bit and head off to the right. We can see remnants of old foundations over here as well. And these foundations are so much easier to see this time of year when the foliage is down. So here we go. Here's some old sheet metal from some kind of a barrel or something. And here's a stone wall, some part of a concrete wall, part of a foundation that I'm walking on right now. Then over here's the rest of the foundation. You can see the wall going over to the corner. I'm going to jump down here. Here's an old tractor tire, huge tractor tire, kind of buried underneath the dirt. There's some more foundation down there. More foundation parts over here. And then let's just jump down here and go over here and see what we can find. And as they dig around in the dirt, you can find all sorts of things. Some sort of metal. Looks like it might have been part of a fence or something. There's some old wood here from a fence. And then here's the corner of the foundation. You know, again, it's hard to say what it was, but I'm assuming it's probably summer houses, summer bungalows that were known to be back here before the lake was built. There we go, just before mile 10, if anybody can fill us in on what might have been back here, if they remember parents or grandparents that had property back here. And still more of the same foundation just before mile 10, big old square hole in the ground here, surrounded by stone and concrete with a little bit of metal around the edge of it. And there's a pipe, you probably can't see it, but there's a pipe down there. There's a pipe sticking out of the ground that connects to it, which makes me believe that it's probably some sort of part of a well or something. Here's more of the foundation. Here's another what looks like a fence post sticking up out of the ground. Let's see what else we can find. And again, here's some more brick in part of the trail, so there had to have been brick involved in some of the foundations back here. And there's some steel I-beams along the trail here. Go ahead, you can go through. Yeah, we're gonna let some fishermen through here. They're looking for the big trout. Anyway, there's some steel I-beams here along the side of the trail that I'm gonna guess are earmarked for use in that bridge that we crossed over a few minutes ago, where it seems to be deteriorating and washing out over the years. So I have a feeling these I-beams are probably going to be used for that. And if you look up this farm road here, it's actually a way that the rangers or the construction crews can get back. It connects out to Brownsville Road and would allow them access to get back here and deliver those kinds of materials. Okay, here we are, mile marker 10. We just intersected with mile marker 10, and that's kind of where we intended to start the hike today. And we're gonna go up to mile 14. We're still up on the trail system, but if you look through the trees here, you can see the Spring Creek flows right alongside of the trail system. We're only, I don't know, 30, 40 yards off the creek up here on the trail. And as we like to show on our hikes, we just came out of this is the trail that we just came around. It was a bend around this field. And as we get up a little bit farther here, we're going to be headed down into the woods on the trail system. You can see the trail kind of heads down in there now. And then we're going to be crossing another bridge when we get down here. So we're coming down the hill aside of a very gently flowing stream, even after all the rain that we had the last week. And you can see we're coming up on a footbridge. And what I wanted to show you aside of the footbridge, it's a little windy. I hope my microphone screen is working. Anyway, aside of the footbridge, here's another example of how you can cross horses without going across the bridge. And you could use it for bicycles as well, but they have the you know, the side crossing here where you can go across the stream. But then here's the footbridge, and this one looks like, I couldn't swear to it, but this one looks like it's a bridge that was put in specifically for the trail system, because they have some stone foundations surrounded in wire down there all the way. So I kind of have a feeling this was probably built when the trail system was built, as opposed to having been here before as the farm road. Okay, we're back on the trail after that last bridge, and this is just a really, really, really nice, peaceful section of trail back here. Very quiet, hardly anything going on. We pass hikers, horseback riders, bicyclists, etc. along the way, but today there's a lot of people out on the trails because it's really nice, but it's never too crowded that you can't enjoy yourself. And I think we've been seeing this since we've been hiking the trail system for all these years, 10, 12 years, oh, even longer than that. And I'm really happy that nobody's moved it yet, but here's an old tractor wheel that was left behind. And like I said, I think we've been seeing it for all the years we've been coming out here. Here's another one of the stone foundations. Well, first of all, here's a well that we've seen many times. You can even see the piping still remaining in the well. And it's an old stone well, so it was probably dug by hand. And like I said, you can see the piping that remains in there. And then, if you look over to the left, you can see the wall that probably that well served some sort of a building up here. Although, to tell you the truth, these trees are so fully grown, I'm not even sure that there was a structure up there. I'm not sure what this wall would have been for. And if we looked over on the right, we'd probably find more remnants of structure over there as well. And we're just after mile marker 10 now on the trail system, headed towards mile marker 11. Little interesting piece of evidence here. This is old asphalt. So that's evidence that this was at one time a road, an asphalt road that came back here, and at least came back as far as this structure right here, that wall that we just saw. So we're gonna have to look on one of the old maps that we've found. And here's another structure over here, another wall, and part of a foundation. I'm just going to walk down around that a little bit. Walk through the woods. And you can see the corner of the foundation here. And get down here and see the other side of the wall. That's probably the building itself. The other part that we just saw, the stone wall that we saw, may have been just a, I don't know, like a fence or a separator for a driveway or something. And as we head over here, farther into the woods, we'll see another collapsed foundation. And you can see it right there. That wall has just fallen down over the years. Walk down around here, around the corner, and there's an old concrete block. Here's the rest of the wall. You can see that wall is collapsing, has almost completely collapsed. An old tire from a car or a truck. And then if you turn this way and walk down through the trees here just a little bit, you can see that we are right at the water. We're right at the edge of Spring Creek. And so that building would have been right along the creek. If you look here, you can see what appears to be the remnants of a telephone or utility pole. So there must have been electricity running back in this area. I don't think that's a tree. I think that's remnants of an old utility pole. We're back on the trail somewhere between mile 10 and mile 11. Here's a nice view out from Spring Creek to a bend where it turns and goes down towards the main channel of the lake. And the area that it's bending into is an area that we have nicknamed Catfish Cove because there's so many big catfish back there, up to 24 inches and even bigger catfish in Catfish Cove. And again, that's between mile 10 and mile 11 on the multi-purpose trail. I don't know how much of it you can see,
24.
but first of all, the water level is down about 5 feet, as they always do. They let the water level down by about 5 feet so they can accommodate flooding from the snows. But if you can see that bobber hanging in midair there, that's how you know it's springtime, because the bobbers and the bobber trees are in full bloom. Coming up on another footbridge, and this one kind of answered a question for me. I can see there's remnants of concrete and stone where this would have been a bridge that accommodated cars back then, but since then since the lake was built, they resurfaced it with pressure treated lumber. But this would have been a bridge that cars could travel across back in the day. Between mile marker 10 and mile marker 11, this is one of the hills we just had to climb, and we're not completely at the top yet. But on this particular 4-mile hike today, I really think this is probably the worst, the steepest hill that we're going to have to climb. We're coming up to the intersection of Lambs Mill Road on the trail, and they have a stop sign here to let bicyclists and horseback riders know they're coming up on a traveled road. And here is the sign for Lambs Mill Road. Here's Lambs Mill Road and the sign. And actually Lambs Mill Road would go straight in the old days past the sign. That road has been closed now, but it would continue straight past that sign. There's the trail that we just came up. And then over this way is Lambs Mill Road today. And there's a parking area back here. There's a little circular pull-off just a piece ways up here, a couple, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 yards up there. There's a circular pull-off area that you could go to as well. But today we're going to continue on the trail system towards Peacock Road, which goes this way. We're going to look for mile marker 11. We're currently still on the trail system. This is part of the official multi-purpose trail. But as you can see, it kind of looks like it was an old field road that came off of Lambs Mill Road and connected up over here, not too far ahead of us, to Peacock Road. And there'll be a bridge at Peacock Road. We'll show you when we get there. As we're walking down this field road slash part of the multi-purpose trail, here we are at mile 11. So we've gone from 10 to 11. We're going to go from 11 to 14 today. As we look over here on the hillside, I'll see if I can get close enough that you can see it. There's some old fencing here, but it doesn't look like cattle fencing. It looks more like, I don't know, maybe just like chicken fencing or duck fencing or something like that. So the hillside, either the hillside up here was being protected from the animals getting down the hill there, or they were doing some animal management down there in the valley. We've reached the bottom of a hill that's part of the field road system, and we get a nice view of this section of the lake. And again, as we've said many times before, the water level is down now, and this is a good time of year if you want to walk along the banks of the water and see remnants of old foundations and other things there. So we're continuing along the trail and continuing to look for any old foundations or signs of things that were destroyed, structures that were destroyed when the lake was built. And if we get up here a little farther, you can see there's a good view of the arm of the lake. And we're back on the trail again. And we're coming up on a bridge here. And this bridge happens to be at the water crossing where we put our kayaks in. You can see there's like a stone pad or a concrete pad over on the side, on the other side. And that's where we put our kayaks in. I'll say, Beth.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Come on. So as we were saying, this is the footbridge that was built when the lake was built to cross the stream here. And we believe that the roadway was actually where the horse crossing is now. And then down here is the concrete pad where we put our kayaks in. And it's a beautiful little stream that flows down into the lake when you put the kayaks in at that concrete pad. Now we're at the Peacock Road trailhead, or the Peacock Road parking area. Let's see if there's any maps over here in the pouch, and there are. This is where you want to go if you want to grab a map of the trail. If you look out this way, we're looking down Peacock Road. To the right is a road named School Lane. Peacock Road continues on, and now they've built a gate here because now Peacock Road is part of the trail system, and it actually discontinues a little ways down here. We're not going to get quite that far to where it discontinues, but this is Peacock Road. If you look at an old map, you'll see Peacock Road on the map, and you can also see that there were, at one point, there were some gates here and some drains and that kind of thing. So we're going to walk down Peacock Road, which is part of the trail system, and then we'll get back up into the woods. And we're continuing on Peacock Road. Now you can see two hikers up in front of us. I don't know if we'll overtake them or not. We're not in any big hurry. But in just a little ways up here, Peacock Road is going to continue straight, and the official trail system is going to head up into the woods, and we're going to take that. Here's another example of those areas that I keep showing where the animals have created trails that are almost like highways that you can see that they use regularly to get down to the water and get back up into their bedding areas and their feeding areas. And we're coming up Peacock Trail, or Peacock Road I should say, headed towards the trail system, and hikers coming towards us with a dog, hikers headed away from us. All right, this is where Peacock Road continues straight, and you can see it's a trail. It's still kind of a trail, but it's just a side trail. We've tried hiking down that trail and then getting back up into the woods to get up to the main trail, and it's not an easy hike. You got to climb up through the woods. So this is where the trail sign, where the trail marker is. This looks like a fairly fresh one, telling us to turn left here and go across a little footbridge. And of course, as usual, there's a side area where you can take the horses or bicycles if you want to go through there. But a really nice bridge that the rangers take good care of, taking us up onto continuing on the trail. Now we're supposed to be on the trail system today, but we just want to show you something at this intersection off of Peacock Road before we go back up into the woods. If you come back here, back this little side trail, you see what there's a daisy popping up. Come back this way and see what I consider to be a postcard type view of a really cool little waterfall. And I don't know if you can hear the sound, but boy, I'll tell you what, if I needed to do some writing, either songwriting or literary writing, I could really be convinced this would be a great place to set up a folding chair and just enjoy the sound of the water. Back on the trail again, we walked up that little path to see the waterfall, and now here's the trail marker sign that says we should be turning to the right. We're going to turn to the right and climb what's essentially just a gentle incline. It's not a really bad hill. Here's a nice shot of the trail. We climbed the hill after Peacock Road. We're on the multi-purpose trail, and you can just see off in the distance how nice the trail system looks. We won't be able to see it through the trees, but to our right is the branch of the lake with the water level down right now. But very shortly we're going to come up on an area that has a rope swing and a cliff that younger people like to jump off of. Really kind of dangerous, not recommended. And we just arrived at mile marker 12. So we've gone more than 2 miles, and our hike today is going to be about 4 miles. So we're a little over halfway there. Here's another postcard type view of the lake. From the trail system you can see the lake water, and you won't be able to see it from here, but there's a bridge abutment on the other side of the lake, just across from where we are right now, that was part of a bridge system over there. But we'll have to get over there and take a look at that later in one of our future broadcasts, our future film sessions. Maybe we should say future hikes. How's that? Here's a nice area where the rangers have come through, the caretakers of the trail have come through and put 4x4s in to keep the trail from washing down. Really nice idea. It's landscaping timbers with spikes, and you'll see some more of them up here as well. Looks like these are just extras. No, actually I take that back. It's part of a wall system that they put in. Boy, that took some time to build that, but it's a really nice idea. Keeps it from, prevents the runoff and the trail from washing away. Here's a view down from the trail system. Pretty steep drop off here. So if you were riding a bike or a horse, or you had kids with you or something, you want to make sure nobody falls down this hill. Okay, we're coming up on a section here where there's kind of a side trail.
Oh,
Hi.
How are you? Good.
No, not really. We have a YouTube site called The Trails of Blue Marsh.
Oh, okay.
And we get out and... Okay, so we're back, we're down off the trail, and we're coming down to an area where there's a cliff. And there's a rope swing down here that the rangers keep cutting down because it's really, really dangerous. There's rock walls along the side here, but it's a really popular spot. When we used to come back here with our boat, and when we come back in this area of the lake with our kayaks, we see people here all the time. And right now we're at that spot, and if you look down there you can see somebody has nailed some boards on the side of a tree to act as kind of a ladder, and they climb up and put the rope up there and then swing off, and those trees are not healthy enough to support a rope anymore. So I'm going to walk down here a little bit, but I'm not going to go down real far. And you can see it's a really sharp drop off, and you can see it there. And people jump off the cliff here and then climb up these rocks. Just not a great idea. So much risk involved, but wanted to show it to you. Just stay away from it. We don't want to read about you. So we've come down off the trail that leads from, that's down at the rope swing and the cliff, and we're back down to the main trail system, intersecting with the trail down here. The main trail, the main multi-purpose trail. We are after mile marker 12 on our way to mile marker 13. So we're coming up on the multi-purpose trail, and it's going to intersect with Lake Road. You can probably see Lake Road up here. We're just about there. And there was a bridge across this water at one point. Now there's just a few boards left. But now we're at Lake Road, and you can see where it goes down to the water, and the road would have continued across before the lake was built. But now, if we continued up this road, we would go to a little parking lot area up here that we've parked on many times. Particularly if you look at one of our videos on the Skinner's Loop trail that our hike that we do. There's a parking lot up at the top of this road that we park on to get on Skinner's Loop.
Hi.
So now we're up at the top of the hill from Lake Road, and we're looking over here. We can see there's an old stone structure over here that we showed in one of our earlier videos. I think it was in the Skinner's Loop video, where there's an old stone foundation and remnants of a building over here. And the one mystery that we haven't yet solved is we're not sure what this is in the ground here. Kind of looks like miniature train tracks or something. I have no idea. Can't figure out what it is. It's buried for a while, and then it comes out to the surface over here, and you can see there's stone in the middle of it, and then some cross sections. So I really wish somebody that knows the area could tell us what this was. So we're at a section of the trail now where if we went up this hill, we would go to the Lake Road parking lot. We don't want to do that today. we want to turn this way and head over onto the trail system. And the other thing we noticed one of the other times we were filming over here, I'll see if we can find it, there was the remnants of a building or a concrete foundation in the woods here somewhere. And again, not a whole lot of documentation available to tell us what some of these buildings were, but we're going to keep searching, and as we find it, we'll publish it. And here's the foundation we were looking for. An old concrete foundation. It's a really big one. Hi, puppy. Hi, puppy dog. And today there's a trail run going on. You can see they've painted white arrows on the ground to show the runners which way to go. And this is part of the trail system here. So we're going to stay on the multi-purpose trail and head out towards mile marker 13 and then mile marker 14, and then we'll be back at our car. Here is a deadfall that wasn't here earlier this year. And man, I was just here about a month ago and this wasn't here. So I guess the rangers will be cleaning that up as springtime arrives, or as the nice weather continues. We'll walk around it and we're back on the multi-purpose trail again. So we're at an intersection on the trail here, and if we head back up that way, that would take us up through Skinner's Loop, which would loop around, bring us back down at the bottom of this hill. If we go this way, we're going to head back to the Lake Road parking lot, head straight ahead, and we're on the multi-purpose trail. Headed back down the trail into the woods. Just spoke with someone who's with the endurance race that's going on today, who told us that the distance is a marathon, which is 26 miles. And then the runners are also doing a 50-mile endurance race. They started at 6 a.m. today, and what time is it now? Probably about 3:10 in the afternoon. Whew, boy, and we're only doing 4 miles. We feel like slackers.
You need them.
We just spoke with a young lady who's in the race today, the endurance race, and she's 41 miles in. She's got 9 more to go. I don't think I could do that. All right, we're coming down to a corner in the trail where the trail is going to bend to the right and go up a hill to the right. And incidentally, our gimbal has lost battery power, so I'm trying to hold the camera steady. Probably not doing a great job. Apologize for that. But wanted to show that as you turn right here, there's a big kind of valley here that leads down into a little cove in the lake. Now you can better get a better view of the valley that leads into the lake down there. That's all water down there. It's just a really picturesque trail system. And we just reached mile marker 13. Gonna keep going almost to 14. Here's a nice view of the lake. Get off the trail system a little bit. Really steep embankment. And you should be able to see a bass boat going by down there, a bass fishing boat, yep. And then the lake down that way. And as we head up this way, up this arm of the lake, it would take us to the Burnville boat launch, the Scheide ramp. So I want to show you where this trail splits. If we were to go to the left, we'd go up basically a horse trail through the fields. If we go straight, we're going to go down through the woods on the trail system. So you can see on this trail marking sign here, it says there's a red diamond, and they're warning against horses on this trail because it kind of goes down through the woods and it gets a little narrow and rocky. So that's why they kind of direct the horses up into the field. So we're going to go down this this main trail in the woods on the multi-purpose trail. We're somewhere after mile 13, but not quite as far as 14. Kind of unusual that they haven't moved this log yet, but it must have been something that fell just this year, and the rangers will be out here to clean it up in the springtime or the next few weeks. Okay, we're coming up on another footbridge. I don't know how many of these things. I should have counted them today. I don't know how many footbridges we've crossed, but it's just really, really nice as part of the trail. Instead of having to try to figure out how to get across these water crossings. This one looks like one of the older ones, but still in good shape. Back up the trail, and we're kind of between mile 13 and 14. Shouldn't have too much farther to go. And you can see a pile of feathers here, and you can see it over here. Actually, it looks more like kind of fur, so something had a meal here. Hi. And
No, it looks like that.
yeah, see what that carcass is down there. I'm not even going to walk down to find it, but something died here, I can tell you that. So I didn't film it when I went down there, but it was actually a skeleton of a skunk down there in the woods. So not sure what's brave enough to kill a skunk, but something did. Okay, here's another footbridge over a ravine. There's no water flowing through it, but it's a pretty heavy-duty ravine leading down to that stream and waterfall down there. Kind of interesting to see the natural terrain here. I'm imagining that's as a result of all the runoff over all the years and running off down into the stream here. And here we are with another footbridge. Again, these things are starting to get a little bit old now. I have a feeling they'll be out repairing them in the not too distant future. And another footbridge that you can hardly see because it's so covered with dirt. Coming up on some deadfalls that we're gonna have to cross. Okay, we're headed back into the woods after coming up the trail through the field.
Oh, that air feels good.
Yeah.
Hi.
We're gonna head down into the woods. Hi.
Good job.
Gonna head down this long downhill stretch before mile 14. I'm gonna get some shots of this going down the hill. This is a very long downhill for us. Long uphill coming the other way. Kind of muddy and rocky. So you gotta be careful, especially with a bicycle. But even walking or running, you gotta be careful.
Good job, guys.
All right, we just reached mile marker 14. So we were thinking it was going to be a 4-mile hike today. I think it's going to be more like a 5-mile hike with all the extras that we've got, because we're still not even back at the car yet. Coming down to an intersection, to the intersection of a road. I have to check the map, but I think this would have been maybe Shady Road. I'm not sure. No, maybe not. Because if it was Shady Road, it would go across the lake to the Burnville boat launch, but it's definitely an old road. I'm gonna have to look at the map and see what this road was called. But the trail, as you can see, we just came down the trail this way, and now we're gonna head up the road this way. And you can probably see in the distance, maybe you can see there's some kayaks out on the water, and there's a couple of boats out there. It's a really, really pretty day for it. And this is a great lake for that kind of thing, especially back here in the no wake area where the boats have to go slowly. So let's head back up this road. We're just a short distance from our car and the end of our hike for today. And you can see this road would have continued straight ahead, the asphalt road, but the trail system goes this way. And that's the way we're going to go. And now that I think about it, this is not Shady Road that we're on. Shady Road is up a little farther north. So I have to look up and see what the name of this road was. So even this trail that we're on was part of some sort of a road system, because you can see the remnants of a bridge there, and we're going to be going across it and see the remnants over there as well. So we're going to have to look up the name of these roads. And you can see there's a road crossing sign here because we're coming up on Church Road. That signals the end of our hike. Our car is parked right up here. And here's the end of our hike today at the old Church Road parking area. We've gone a little over 4 miles today.